Hello everyone, welcome back to the IndieGeekGuy channel. Hope you're well. We're back with some more Hannibal. Last week on Hannibal, we had a lot of just dealing with some really real shit. That's basically what last week was. Kind of just hitting you in the face with all those emotions and people dealing with them and yeah, how that all went down. Specifically, we had Will kind of opening up to Jack saying, I don't know how much use I'm going to be for you. I'm getting messed up by all this, particularly the Hobbs thing. And it's just wearing me down piece by piece. And Jack is like, hey, you can leave if you want. You can quit, but you're going to hate it if you do. And, you know, all that going on. We also learned that Jack, his wife, has cancer. And it looks like it's probably not going to go well. And he's trying to deal with that as well as Will. And all of this. Just a very somber, real, emotive episode last week. We had a killer who was also suffering with a brain tumor and had set him off with these hallucinations, and he could like sense, or at least believe that he could sense evil in people. That was last week. It was an emotional ride last time. So who knows where we're going to be going this time? Maybe we'll get some more Abigail. Maybe we'll get some more Freddy. There's a few Freds that are sort of been dangling, and we haven't sort of circled back to them. So yeah, we'll see where we go next. But before we jump into this one, please remember to hit the thumbs up button if you do enjoy the reaction and the review that happens afterwards. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. That's more reactions, reviews, gameplay, all that fun stuff. There are also social links down below, including the Discord server if you want to go hang out over there, but also the Twitch channel, which we did a stream for the other day and it went very well. So if you want to know when I'm live over on Twitch, make sure you're going there and following. But other than that, we're going to jump into this episode of Hannibal, see what it's all about. Let's do it. That Eddie Izzard? That's absolutely Eddie Izzard. What happened? What's he doing here? I mean, he looks pretty messed up. I was tempted to say I think this is a con and he's going to do something crazy, but he looks pretty fucked up. Is there a guard with this person while she does this? Like, or is she being left alone? That's why there should be a guard. Like I was just saying.
I always feel a little nervous going into these places.
Why's that?
Afraid they won't let me out.
Don't worry, I won't leave you here.
And not today.
That's some foreboding, if I ever heard it.
Why was a nurse left alone with a prisoner in a high-security psychiatric hospital?
It's what I'm saying, Will.
2 years since he was.
It's what I'm saying.
You're quite the topic of conversation in the psychiatric circles, Mr. Graham.
He's not here to be analyzed.
Perhaps he should be.
Alright, you creep. Jesus.
The removal of organs and the abdominal mutilations are all consistent with the Chesapeake Ripper.
This Ripper has been coming up a few times. So is Eddie Izzard the Ripper, or is this a whole other thing? I'm dreading it.
Reason you
Yeah.
failed and kept failing.
I was right to dread it. Oh my god. Good luck, Will. Good luck with this. I mean, that looked like it required a lot of effort to pull off that amount of impaling. Like, where did he get it all from? Was it just various different poles that were left in the room? What if Eddie Izzard didn't do it? What if he didn't do it? Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Okay, maybe he did do it. Maybe he did do it. Why the eyes? Why the eyeballs? Why? Can't see him do it. Is that why? There's usually a meaning for all these reasons why they do these things. Yeah. Yeah, I would not want to be in that man's head. Poor Will. I just always feel so bad for him at every turn.
I'm assigning you to the Chesapeake Ripper Task Force. You're going to work directly under me.
Why me?
You have a forensics fellowship, 6 years of law enforcement, degree in psychology. And what I don't have are enough warm bodies.
Well, I'm going to go on a limb and guess that she died. And that's why Jack's so invested in all this.
I've read your notes, of course. They were more or less helpful, as I conducted my own interviews with Dr. Gideon over the years.
Well, I'm glad I was helpful.
Oh my god. She's like, I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you already. I've been in this room with you for like 2 seconds. Get me the fuck out. Oh. Recognize this? This whole setup. Feel like this is going to be a precursor to Hannibal. Or, the way Will's going, maybe Will's going to end up in here at some point. Hence that foreboding.
The mystery is whether you are who you say you are.
Never like being called the Chesapeake Ripper. Maybe something with a little more wit.
Is that why you didn't take credit for the Ripper murders before now?
I feel like this guy is probably going to realize what's happening here with the 2 interviews going on. So he's going to use that to his advantage somehow.
The effect I was hoping to have was her death.
But why, though? Just to get these people here to interview you, maybe? Well, the mystery does flow. Is he the Ripper? Is he not? Is it all a ploy to take the heat off someone else?
I can't stop thinking about when my wife is gonna die. I look at her side of the bed and I think, is she gonna die there? I can't stop thinking about it, you understand? I can't stop.
Who else couldn't you save?
A girl?
Take a look around.
Jesus.
Tell me what you see.
Modern art. At least that's what the killer probably thinks, right? It's like that sculpture that Homer Simpson made. Out of, like, cement and barbecue pieces.
What's he doing with the organs?
Surgical trophies.
Maybe he's nomming on them. We have previous for that.
I see the Ripper, but I don't feel the Ripper. This is plagiarism.
We never made the wound patterns for any of the Ripper's victims public.
The Ripper could have contacted him and was like, yo, this is what you do. One here, take this. I don't know how the Ripper would have contacted him if he's in that cell and, well, they did say they took away some of his security because of how well behaved he was. So maybe that's how.
It's Miriam. I don't know where I am. I can't say anything.
Miriam?
Please, Jack. Please.
Fuck, it's got... What? What happened?
Peak Ripper recorded Miriam last 2 years ago as he was killing her. Last night, he called my house at 2:46 a.m. He played that recording for me.
Got you. Okay, I was so confused for a moment. Okay, I'm up to speed now.
Jack, you're in a deep sleep. You're roused. You're disoriented. You might not even know you're still asleep.
Yeah, you don't want to go down that path with him. That look of just... You fucking kidding me? Are you saying that to me right now?
Gideon is just a tabloid rumor right now. We think we need to make him the truth.
You might push the Ripper to kill again just to prove he isn't in a hospital.
Yeah, that seems like a risky play. That's a real risky play.
Thinking about getting into bed with Freddie Lowndes.
You yourself know it's the best way to bait the real Chesapeake Ripper.
I don't like this. I don't like this plan. I feel like backfiring will commence.
His name is Dr. Abel Gideon, and strong evidence has surfaced that he's far more than a mild-mannered surgeon who cruelly murdered his wife. Gideon is the most sought-after serial killer at large. That serial killer? None other than the Chesapeake Ripper.
Well, maybe Hannibal's the Ripper. I suppose it would make sense. He's been flying under the radar for so long. But again, I don't feel like Hannibal would be the type to have patterns and the like.
Jack, it's Miriam. I don't know where I am. I can't say anything.
Oh, my brain is just fucking with me right now because I feel like maybe if Hannibal is the Ripper, then that might link up to why he's got some shit going on with Jack and all sorts.
Inspired by Auguste Escoffier, we are having longue d'agneau en papillote.
I don't think I've ever had tongue before.
It was a particularly chatty lamb.
Smells.
All right, whose tongue was it? Whose tongue was it? Does that mean you had to kill 3 people to get 3 tongues?
Did you discuss the Chesapeake Ripper's crimes with Dr. Gideon before he murdered the night nurse?
Is it possible you inadvertently planted the suggestion in Gideon's mind that he was the Ripper?
Were I in your position, I would have attempted psychic driving. Perhaps you already have. I'm much more forgiving of the unorthodox than Dr. Bloom.
Here we are. Hannibal manipulating people for his own ends once again.
Dr. Gideon wasn't in my bedroom. Chesapeake Ripper was. Last call. Left something the others didn't. Phone number.
Well, that worked out for them. I mean, it's got to be some sort of bait, though. It's a cool location, though. Can we find out whose arm that is? And how fresh it is? I mean, it's still, like, intact-ish, other than not being attached to anyone.
Don't give up hope for your wife. Not yet. She's lost hope, which means you can't.
That's some solid advice there.
What was her name?
My name is Miriam Lass. I'm with the FBI. I would show you my credentials, but I'm actually just a trainee.
Never just a trainee. An agent in training.
Excuse me? Excuse me? What's happening?
Pathology checked with the local hospital. He had fallen out of a tree blind 5 years ago while bow hunting. The doctor of record was a resident surgeon, but you were on duty in the ER that night.
I did keep detailed journals during those days. If you like, I can get them for you.
Where are we going with this? You might have been caught out. You may have been caught out. This episode's fucking with me so bad. Jesus. So if he is the Ripper and he hasn't killed anyone for 2 years, has he just got a bunch of bodies on ice somewhere? Oh god, the episode's over. The episode's over. Christ. I feel like this is like a part 1 to something. I'm so messed with. Okay, episode down. That whole episode was just messing with my head so badly. So we have Eddie Izzard, who is a guy who's been institutionalized. Get that out of your mouth. Institutionalized. Who is now he believes, or he's pretending to be, the Ripper, even though it's kind of indicating that maybe Hannibal's the Ripper, or at least has some knowledge of the Ripper anyway. Jack is obviously very invested in this whole thing because his trainee, as far as he knows and we know, was killed on that case. But now maybe her arm was found with her phone, but her arm didn't look like it had been like rotting or anything, so it must have, if it hadn't been rotting, it must have been stored somewhere. We also know that the Ripper hasn't at least had a victim that they've seen in 2 years that matches the pattern. Like basically at the end of the episode with seeing the flashback of Hannibal attacking the trainee there, it feels like, well, he is the Ripper, and that's that. But I still feel like there's more to it than that. There's something else happening, and he might well be the Ripper. I'm not fully convinced that he isn't. It definitely seems like he is, but is this why he changed up how he went about doing his thing? Because they got too close to him? And then in terms of sort of Jack and Bloom's plan to sort of draw out the real Ripper by sort of confirming Eddie Izzard's character as the Ripper, and that will bait out the Ripper getting angry about this person who's plagiarizing and pretending to be them. I don't know if that will work, or if it is Hannibal, I feel like Hannibal would be smart enough to use that to his advantage rather than falling for the bait. Or maybe this is just sort of showing how he's learned to not have a pattern, because that's how you get caught if you have a pattern and something you do continuously. I'm only saying that because in the first episode, Will quite specifically points out that the person who was clearly killed by Hannibal as a way to mess with him points out that whoever did that killing wouldn't have a pattern, would be incredibly hard to catch if they ever could catch them, because the way they do what they do is done with like too much intelligence. And like I said, there would be no pattern. But maybe this is going going away to sort of demonstrate why Hannibal moved away from his pattern. I don't know. This is all speculation. I will say this episode definitely felt like a part one, because it felt like there was a lot of information setting a situation up to get to that final beat at the end where we see Hannibal actually attacking someone, and to continue off from that point and where that might go, which is very different for all the episodes we've had so far. Obviously, there's been threads and through lines that have been going through the episodes, but this felt like here is part one to this mystery that we're uncovering here, and we're going to continue on with the next episode directly. So that was kind of a different feel and pace to the episode with that. It certainly fills in some holes in regards to like why Hannibal would be so interested in having an in with the FBI and Jack specifically, if he did indeed kill one of his trainees, and if he's looking to make sure that they can't find him again and all of that, and obviously his relationship with Jack, and like who knows, I don't know exactly what he's going to do now that he has this in, but it definitely feels like this episode is filling in the gap as to why he would be so interested in having that ability. I don't know why, but this episode's really just messed with my head a little bit. It's just like, I guess that is part of the point of the episode, is to throw you off kilter so you don't really know what the truth is, hence with the phone calls which Jack thinks is a recording of the old trainee, but then for a moment he believes, oh, maybe it is real, and then we're not really sure if Eddie Izzard's character is who he says he is, or if Hannibal is who he actually is. This episode did a lot of, well, there are no definites right now. There's just a lot of, well, it could be. This could be what it is. I guess what makes it feel so different is that all the episodes up to this point have felt very definite, especially in terms of like the procedural nature of the show. Like in all the other episodes where there's been a killer that they're hunting down, it's been like, well, this is the killer, this is what they're doing, and we're watching our protagonists unravel that mystery, even though we, the audience, sort of know where the direction is. It's just we're watching them engage in it, and we're watching the how that effect is having on Will and Hannibal and everyone, and how Hannibal's manipulating it. Here we've got a lot more of a like, well, we're not going to give you all the puzzle pieces this time around. It's going to be a bit off kilter, a bit weirder, and we're going to make you think you know the answer, but then where you might pull the rug slightly. It was just a very different feel overall in terms of what's going on. At this present moment, I will say my gut feeling is that Hannibal is absolutely the Ripper, because why else would he have drawings, and why would he know the details? And he was a bit deflective in his answers and everything. Then obviously he attacks the trainee, so that just signifies this person's getting too close. I need to get rid of this. I need to solve this problem right here, right now. So that's my gut instinct, that that must be who he is. And also that, as I say, would fill in the holes in terms of what his relationship to Jack is, and why he's so invested in that. And obviously I've been saying this for the other episodes, it feels like there is something building between Hannibal and Jack, and the reason why, Hannibal feeding him stuff, that, I feel like that's going somewhere. So that's where my head is at the moment, that Hannibal's the Ripper. He's covering, and maybe in this particular episode, like they said, the guy's security got a lot more lax, and we saw Hannibal manipulating the guy who has been interviewing Eddie Izzard's character and saying, hey, you keep doing this, you keep putting these ideas in his head, because it gets shit off my back, basically. And plus I should just sort of trust Will's instinct at this point, because he's never been wrong about anything. And the moment when he went into the mind place of Eddie Izzard's character was just Gideon, the guy's name, he was instantly, I don't sense the Ripper here, I sense someone like pretending. I sense someone who might believe that they are the Ripper, but they aren't the actual person. So I should just go on faith that Will's probably right about that, and he more than likely is. So that's another element of he's not, it's someone else, be it Hannibal or maybe even someone else. That's up for debate, I guess, at this point where I'm at, but I'm strongly leaning on Hannibal. But no, it was interesting as an episode to be a much more Jack focused episode, and a much more like procedural focused episode, whereas all the other episodes have felt very much like the procedural lends something to the themes of what is going on with Will, Hannibal, Abigail, and all the other characters, whereas this episode felt much more like, well, we're telling a story about a conspiracy, about a serial killer pretending to be another serial killer, and all of this, and that's the focus of the episode. Obviously, we had some of the repercussions of where Jack is at emotionally with his wife's cancer and not being able to deal with that, and she's not opening up to him, and he's dealing with the loss or potential loss of everything around him, and you know, this whole, because he was looking into the Ripper case and it coming back up is sort of reignited all those fires along with everything else that's going on. So it was, like I say, very Jack focused, and all the themes were sort of flooding over to him, which was very different. And again, the performances were really good. Like Jack was going through the gauntlet here. He was at the lowest lows. He was strong. He was like sad. He was going all across the scales on this one. Then Eddie Izzard's performance was interesting. It felt like, you know, it was obviously felt like it was a play up of, you know, Silence of the Lambs and Anthony Hopkins inside the the plastic cage, and obviously playing that up, and he was leaning into that a little bit, but at the same time his performance did come across as someone who was just kind of winging it a little bit. Like, he's not the real authentic deal. Like, everything about it is like, I know this, but it's not quite right. Like, obviously it feels like a foreboding of Hannibal being in that cell or whatever, but it's like, this isn't right. None of this feels right. And I guess that should be another clue as to Hannibal being the Ripper, and the wrong guy is in that cell, basically. Like, that's kind of what it all signifies. Even though Eddie Izzard's character is clearly disturbed and murders people and did some crazy shit in his past, but in terms of what is actually being talked about in the episode and who's the Ripper, who isn't the Ripper, it just, like I say, feels like, well, that's not who should be in that cell, is it? That's the cell that Hannibal should be in, and this is the long corridor shot which leads to Hannibal at the end of the corridor, and, you know, all of that stuff. It's really hard to give my thoughts about all of this because, like I say, it feels like a part one. So I feel like I really need to see what's going to happen next in order to, like, really get into the nitty-gritty of all of it. But I really do like the setup. I like where it's going. I like how it visually was telling those stories, and I'm just like clocking everything in as I speak, just like just putting it all together in my head. But yeah, overall, this does seem like it's really delving deeper into what Hannibal's motivations are at this point, in terms of, I don't want people to find out it's me, so maybe I'll just stoke the fire on this guy pretending to be the Ripper thing, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's fucked me up. It's fucked me up, this episode. It's really done a number on me, because it's, like I say, everything, all the pieces were there, they just felt like they were in the wrong order, and it's thrown me off completely a little bit. But yeah, at the end of that episode, all I can say is that I'm looking forward to the next one. You know, we're about halfway through this first season, just over, I think, or whatever, but maybe things are about to get shaken up in the next episode. Maybe some things are going to get revealed, and who knows. Yeah, this is interesting. It's an interesting setup. Like I say, I really enjoyed sort of the puzzle pieces that were being laid down, even if they did fuck with my brain a bit, and all the visual way of communicating all of that stuff. But I look forward to next time. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please press the thumbs up button. It helps me know you liked it. Helps it get seen by more people. Also, consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. We're also over at Twitch. There's a link down there, so go hit up the follows over there. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one.